Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, Professor of Physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. We're talking about the week of November 17th. This time around when I'm recording this the week before, it's the day after everybody's abuzz about Aurora and northern lights all over the place. So I hope you had a chance to see that. It was fantastic here. We actually had a clear night. It's a great week for dark skies ahead. Not until the very, very end of the week. I wrote it on here someplace. There it is. The moon at the very end of the week gets to be a beautiful thin crescent in the evening sky on the 23rd. And so we go out and see that, but you have dark skies all week. And so what we do when we have dark skies is often I try to recommend things that are hard to see, that are faint. But this week we try to do a mix of things that are bright and easy to see from all kinds of places, whether you have dark skies or a telescope or not. And some things that are harder and more challenging to see. And we like to tilt towards those more challenging things in these weeks where we have no moon interference. Maybe I haven't done that enough this week, so let's see. We got a board full of beauty there. We've been looking at the Great Square Pegasus. 20 degrees below the Great Square Pegasus. That's two fist widths dropping straight down from this bottom part of the Great Square Pegasus. The bottom side of the square is Saturn. Saturn is this pale yellow bright dot that sits about 20 degrees below there. The head of Pisces, the circlet of Pisces, is there between the Great Square and Saturn. What we want to do is this transit. So remember, we talk about transiting sometimes here. Things that the meridian line is the line that collects north to south directly overhead. And when things are on the meridian, that's when they're the best place for observing. They're highest in the sky they're going to get for that night. And we call that transiting. That's when they transit. Saturn transits at 10 p.m. roughly this week. So it gets dark early now for most of us. And so for those of us here in the northern hemisphere, I should say. And so it gets dark relatively early, so Saturn's been up as soon as it gets dark. It's been out visible for 4 hours by the time it transits. It'll set at maybe 2 in the morning. Look for Titan. Titan is the brightest moon of Saturn, and it's a great moon. It has been disappeared. It has been behind the planet, and just this past week it's reappeared. So if you see a bright dot right next to Saturn, watch that over the course of a few days in your telescope. You should be able to see that from just about anywhere. But that reappearance of Titan, the brightest moon, second largest moon in the solar system, big moon. It's got a hydrologic system. It's a beautiful moon. It's got a thick atmosphere. It's the only moon we know of that has a really dense atmosphere like that, but it's a hydrocarbon atmosphere, largely methane. And it's got rivers and things people call the Great Lakes. It's got lakes and river systems and a whole hydrologic system built on these hydrocarbons, largely methane, that's flowing on the surface of Titan. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful moon to think about and to see. And so watch that over the next few weeks, if you will, and you can watch that bright moon moving with Saturn against the background stars, so you can tell what the moon is, but the moon's also slowly moving relative to Saturn, separating. It'll be growing its separation from Saturn. Now, if we start at Saturn and we drop 20 degrees, again, 2 fist widths, down to the southeast, we're going to come to Diphda, Beta Ceti, a second magnitude star. Nice bright star. It transits at about 11 p.m. So it's dragging behind Saturn as it moves across there. And Diphda sits at the base of a triangle like this with Iota Ceti, a 3.7 magnitude star, and Eta Ceti, a 3.5 magnitude star. These are fine stars to have around. Should be able to see them under most skies, but it's got a lot of light pollution. You're not going to be able to see them very well. A lot of 10 degrees going on here, so roughly 1 fist width from Diphda up to Eta and up to Iota, and about 10 degrees fist width from Iota over to Saturn across this direction. Next to Eta, we got a few things we can look at here. Next to Eta, about 2 2/3 degrees above, north and a little bit east of Eta, is a double star. I don't think it's a true binary. I don't think they're in orbit, but it's a fine star for most observers here. 50 arc seconds separates them, and there's a great color difference. A white star and an orange star, and both 5th to 6th magnitude stars. So you should be able to pull those out of most skies, good dark skies this week, and see if you can find that double star just for the pleasure of seeing 2 different, very different colored stars right next to each other there. And so 37 Ceti is the name of that star. Next to Iota, about 2 degrees southeast of Iota, so back in here, just next, a finger at arm's length is about 1 degree. So you slide your telescope or even your binoculars really a couple of degrees southeast of Iota, and Ceres is there. Ceres is the first asteroid that was discovered in 1801. It was called a planet at that time because it was behaving like a planet, wandering against the background stars. As the 19th century evolved, we started to discover lots of these. It took a long time. Really, the first half of the 1800s, we didn't discover very many of them. But then we started by the second half of the 1800s realizing, oh, there's a lot of these objects. I need to call them something else. And so we started calling them asteroids instead of planets. And then we've toggled back lately. We call these dwarf planets now. But it looks like an 8th magnitude star. If you make a sketch of the area with your binoculars, with your telescope, under just about any skies you have right there. Just track that over several days, over the next couple of weeks, even if you want to, and you'll see that which of those stars is moving relative to the other stars. There are a few stars around it right now that are of order 8th magnitude, so it's in a sea of objects that are kind of like that. But interesting object, fun to think about the history of the object, and fun to observe. So that's a good observing object for us to pick out this week and to think about, and to do that for the weeks ahead. Now, some other objects that are here. The board's just full of magic, right? I look at it, I'm like, where do we go next? What do we do next? And it's like the night sky. You're out there and you're thinking, what do we observe next? What do we do next? We've looked at Saturn. We've looked at Ceres. We've looked at a beautiful double star. We got the crescent moon coming up. But let's think about looking near Diphda. So I drew this on the board. There it is, Diphda, this bright second magnitude star. And about 4 degrees north, but tilting a little bit west, is NGC 210. I don't think you can read that very well, but NGC 210. And about 6 degrees north, tilting a little bit east, is NGC 246. 210 is a face-on spiral galaxy. It's a challenging object. 10-inch scope, probably ought to be able to do it if you have dark skies. 8-inch scope, maybe do it if you have dark skies. 6-inch scope might be a challenge for you. But that's a good challenge object this week. Try to get a picture of it if that's what you do. If you're taking pictures of objects, I think that's a great one. But I think NGC 246 might be a better one. 6-inch telescope, probably under dark skies. You could see that. Maybe with a 4-inch telescope, I don't know. I never tried. And so you've got, this is a planetary nebula. Remember, this is a star that's blown off its outer layer. It's got a white dwarf star at the core. There's a 7th magnitude white dwarf in the center of it. And so this is a low surface brightness object. 4 arc minutes is the size of this object across. If you go back, if you've been watching these for a while, we spent some time in the summer talking about planetary nebulae and their sizes and so on. And so this isn't a big one, but it's also not a tiny one. And so this is an observable planetary nebula. And so get out there and see if you can see that. That's a good object to take a picture of, a challenge object. Just a little bit, a third of a degree north-northeast of this planetary nebula is another barred spiral galaxy, NGC 255. And so you can probably get them in the same field of view. You got your low-power eyepiece, and you can scan around and see if you can get them in the same field of view and see if you can find NGC 255. I think it's probably a little bit easier to see than NGC 210, but it's another galaxy for us to look at. So we got galaxies, we got planetary nebula, we got in addition to all of the other stuff that we were talking about earlier, we've got a great week as always, and it's a dark week, so we got some things that you need the dark sky to see. We got some things that hold up that we could see even if we had some moon interference in terms of like Ceres and Saturn with Titan and all of that. So this is it. Should be a good week ahead. As always, everyone, thanks for watching, and we hope you have a great observing week.